everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 232, entitled Tekken Joins Smash. This is recorded on June 29th, 2021. I figured I'd probably throw that in there because Hassan used to do that all the time, and maybe a lot of you have been wondering when they're actually recording these. So this is recorded live, and if you haven't joined us live, I'm going to encourage you guys to do that. My name is Steve. And of course, I am not here by myself just to talk video games only with the chat. I am here with my awesome co-hosts, Barry and Greg. Barry, how's it going, man?
Hey, Steve. It's been crazy, but happy to be back to talk more gaming stuff.
Absolutely. And Greg, how you doing, man?
Really good. Just always great to be back and excited about some of the topics tonight.
Cool. And of course, chat room, how are you guys doing? Let us know in the chat how you are doing tonight. It looks like Jakester asked how's it going, but he hasn't said how he's doing himself. So Jakester, we want to know how you doing, man. But before we get some answers from the chat room, we want to just thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're watching live, thanks for joining us live. Anything that we talk about in the show tonight, be sure to just throw your thoughts, your comments. We'd love to hear what you think about all these different things in the chat as well. If you are watching after the facts here on YouTube, you can throw those in the comment section. Or let us know on social media as well. We would love to just hear your thoughts on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at NintendoFuse. And we're also, we have this Discord that you should definitely join. The link is on the screen right now, but also in the show notes, the YouTube description. We would love to just have you jump in that growing community we have there. And that way you can chat in between the episodes and so much more. Like when E3 was going crazy, like we had all the event channel we have in our Discord was going nuts, and people just kind of sharing their thoughts and everything. So it's a great place to go and just join in the Nintendo or just the video game as a whole community. So if you have not done so yet, please subscribe to this podcast. You can also subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching this live or after the fact. You can subscribe here, hit that bell to be alerted every time we go live, every time we post a new video. And you can also, if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button as well and share this with other video game people that you know, fans out there. So let's get started as we do normally. Not last episode because we had a ton to talk about. If you missed our E3 episode, E3 recap and reflections on E3, make sure you check out episode 231. We probably are not going to go nearly as long this time because there's not nearly as much to talk about. But if you did miss that, make sure to go back there and see what all our thoughts about E3 were this year. But this time, there's not as much to talk about, so we're going to talk about what we have been playing, and we'll go to you first, Barry.
Yeah, so since it's been 4 weeks now of not covering what we've been playing, so I've been very busy over the last month. In fact, just looking at my list versus Steve's, and it's kind of interesting the difference. But so I've been playing a little more Animal Crossing, and getting frustrated because I'm trying to get the new summer recipe from the damn balloons, and of course it's not dropping. So my frustration with that game comes back. So I'm still playing it. I don't know why, but I am still seeing what new things come out. Hopefully I get that recipe soon. For the playable game. So one of them was called Silver Falls Episode. It is a survival horror game. It's very ambitious. I think it's done by one guy, very sweet guy, super ambitious. I did not like this game. I felt that it was too sensitive with the camera. It was very dark, very confusing. Not a great opening setup, but I do wish the guy the best, and I do hope he refines this game. But if you like survival horror and you want to give the guy a shot, I mean, absolutely. See if it's your take. Maybe it's not for me, but it may be for you. Then we've done Explosive Jake, which is a Bomberman-like game, and a lot of fun, very simplistic, but just brings you back to those NES days, as well as Bucket Night, which is a run-and-gun shooter, 2D shooter with platforming elements. Again, goes back to those NES days, and both of those are actually available physically right now on the Pigeon Dev Games collection. So I do have to have a little plug because that is available right now, and our retro versions are shipping, which is exciting. So if you can get that awesome steelbook, and if you are a steelbook collector like myself, this is one you do not want to miss, and we do have a few of those left. But they're both very fun games from Pigeon Devs. On top of that, I played a little bit of the Retrograde Arcade, which is at least at the time, it was a free download. It might still be. It's a like a twin stick shooter kind of deal, like Smash TV, but it's like a multiplayer thing where you're trying to kill each other. It was, I mean, it didn't grip me, but
It's
if
free.
that sounds, it's free. If that sounds something like you would be interested in, if you like twin stick shooters, by all means, it doesn't hurt to give it a try. It's because it's free. Then I did Demon's Tier Plus, which is a 2D roguelike similar to Gauntlet. It's like an RPG, very similar to Gauntlet, but instead of having your health deplete very quickly where you constantly need food, you don't have to worry about that. You have to just kill enemies and get hearts from that. And it's really interesting. You go back to town, you can buy new characters, you can buy new equipment. A lot of fun. And every time you go in the dungeon, every level, the dungeon changes and the objective changes. So it's not even the same thing all the time. And that game, again, selfish plug here, the physical is available right now for pre-order. That ends July 15th. So by the next cast, it will be done. But if you want to pre-order, I recommend going to premiumeditiongames.com and grabbing that while you can. The next game I played is also available for pre-order, which is a robot named Fight, which is actually the playcast game for this week, which is a 2D Metroid, like Super Metroid style, but it's roguelike. With like 4 billion different combinations in this game. It is insane. There's so many items. You will not see the same items twice. Like as you go through, there's different power-ups. And one turns you like Sonic the Hedgehog. There's one that's like the portal gun. There's ones that just make the beam just go insanely big, like 3D dot game heroes. A lot of fun. And if you enjoy Metroidvania and especially Super Metroid, definitely recommend give this a shot. And again, those pre-orders are open. I did do a game that I was excited about, and I know some people in our chat have actually talked about it because there is a demo, and I did not play the demo at all, but I went into the game blind, which is World's End Club, which is done by the Danganronpa and the Zero Escape team, and I love those series, so I went for it, and I played it, and I played through it, and I enjoyed it. This is more a kid-friendly version. Like it's got some light platforming, which is easily the worst part, but it has some visual novel aspects, and it's got an intriguing story that I wish cleared up, and I wish everything was wrapped up. Like there's some mysteries that were never solved, and it starts with a really cool premise. Like the whole like prelude chapter is this game, this very similar game to Zero Escape or Danganronpa, where you have to survive, and I love that, and I want to see more of that. But it's interesting how they took some elements of their other games and put it into this. I do recommend trying the demo. I don't know what the demo contains, but I did enjoy this game. Is it perfect? No. Is it better than the other two series? No. But it is a lot of fun, and I do not regret my time at all playing this, and I do recommend checking it out. I then did some Blood Roots, which is a isometric action game where you can literally pick up almost anything as a weapon as you seek revenge. Anything as in weapons like swords, you can take ladders and beat enemies with it. You can beat them with carrots if you want. Literally anything becomes a weapon, and it's a cool story of great humor and a lot of fun if you like that action style beat 'em up kind of deal. Then I also did, we'll talk about it in a little bit, I did Long Ago, a puzzle tale. So I won't really get into that right now, but that's what I did on the Switch. So it was a very, very Switch heavy 4 weeks. But I did continue my marathon, which I started prior to the last episode, or the last episode we talked about our games, on the PS4, which is the Danganronpa series. So I finally finished Danganronpa 2, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go into the third game, and I put in V3, and this opening cutscene starts, and it's like, here's Danganronpa 1. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Here's Danganronpa 2. I'm like, all right. Then it shows Ultra Despair Girls and Danganronpa 3, and I'm like, wait, really? So this isn't really where I'm supposed to go. And the truth is no. So when this game comes out on the Switch, you're actually not supposed to do Danganronpa 1 and 2 and then 3 or V3, because V3, as confusing as it is not the third story. Danganronpa 3 is actually an anime. So I had to go buy the Blu-ray because I had to see how the story ends. And it's 2 anime. And what's interesting is one anime takes place before the events of the first game, and the other anime takes place after the events of the second game. And you have to watch one episode of each back and forth, back and forth, back and forth till you get to the end. So I had one disc in my Xbox and one disc in my PS5, and I was just switching inputs back and forth watching this anime. Awesome anime. I love the way it concludes the story. I also, while waiting to do the anime and waiting for it to arrive, I did Ultra Despair Girls, which takes place between the first and second game and is, for whatever reason, not included on the Switch release, even though you can tell the artist planned on it being there because the main characters of Ultra Despair Girls are right there on the cover. But the game's not there. And the characters from that game are included in the bonus game, the summer thing, or is it S, whatever it's called, the summer board game kind of deal. So Ultra Despair Girls is like a 3D shooter. It's like Resident Evil, but instead of zombies, you're shooting Monokunas. And it's a lot of fun. And I think it should be played, even though it's very, very different than the first 2 games and the third. But when I finally finished all that, I started V3, and I'm really close to the end at this point. I'm in Chapter 5. And it is interesting. It is not, like, at least at this point, not really tied to the other games. It's more like, here, you want more of the same. But if you enjoy Phoenix Wright, play these games. If you enjoy suspense and mysteries, play these games. If you like, deep stories with a lot of twists and turns, play these games. Enough. I'm so happy that these are coming to Switch. So even if you don't have other systems, Greg, it's great that they're coming. And then to cap it off, I'm still playing Final Fantasy XIV here or there. Just haven't had a lot of time to play as much as I want to. And on the mobile side, still playing Dragalia Lost and Mario Kart Tour.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'll get into mine in just a second, but you played a lot more games than I have. Greg, what have you been up to?
Well, there's not even any way I can match that, even if I spin off the titles that I've only played for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like my daughter loves to jump around between a lot of games. So, the biggest ones I've been playing is I actually just loaded up Animal Crossing for the first time yesterday after like 3 or 4 weeks. It's kind of like very low maintenance mode, and just like, I can pick up the Father's Day item and pick up some of the other wedding items that were available. And like there's not really a whole much going on, at least on my island. I keep letting the weeds grow out, and then the villagers keep getting upset that I don't show up very often anymore. So that's still the fun part of that, I guess.
Yeah, I probably got cockroaches in my house.
I still haven't got them in my house. My wife's got them in her house, but I haven't seen any in mine. So I'm like,
I've never seen
barely
any in
missing
mine.
the cutoff date, I think. And I don't know if you know how to trick to farm the balloons berry, but I've seen videos on it online, so on YouTube.
Every 5 minutes,
you put
there's a chance of one.
Well, no, you can put like the jail bars and or the climbing walls all up and down the sides of the island, and then you can have all the balloons will farm all the way to the very bottom of the island, so it funnels them all down to the bottom. So then you're not running up and down the shores. You're just standing at like the bottom of the island waiting for the balloons to come.
Nice.
Interesting. I don't mind running up and down. I just hate when you go like 10 or 15 minutes without a balloon, and then you finally get one and it's clay. I'm like, really? I wasted 20 minutes of my life for clay.
Can you trap the balloons at all? I've never tried that.
I don't think you can.
I don't think so. They have to be able to go across at some point, so I think they would. But if you line up all the jail bars up and down the beach, then you can have them farmed from any balloon that appears on the upper side or the middle will always have to go down the shore first before it can make its way across. But that's a little fun trick I learned to try to do those cherry blossom recipes. Anyways, really been playing a lot of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I finally got the last 4 or 5 shines in Bowser's Fury after months of hiatus, and glad that it's fully completed. And then I even went through to actually play Super Mario 3D World. Since I was able to finish Odyssey earlier this year, I'm like, I need to knock this one off my Mario backlog. So now I've fully 100% did 3D World. I beat all the levels with all 5 characters, got all the stamps. Which, if you do complete the game, that's basically the completion because it requires all the top of the gold posts and the 3 green stars on every level as well. So that was quite a dueling task, and thankfully I only had to play some levels at most like twice, because the first run through I did solo, and then the second time I just connected 3 controllers and had 2 controllers throw the other players onto the flagpole, so I was able to get all 4 of them at the end of a single playthrough on the level. So did lose a lot of lives because apparently if you let them go through the level and the bubbles on the auto scrolling levels, they'll automatically pop and then they'll die at the back of the screen scroll. So that wasn't very fun there. But yeah, I finally got that one complete, 100%. Never again. Do recommend it if you have never done it, because it's still a fun journey to get there. But most Mario games, I don't usually do 100% more than once unless I absolutely enjoy it, like Mario 64, where it's actually manageable to 100% in a reasonable amount of time, and nothing like spend countless times just going through the same level, just clearing it as different characters. That's kind of a very pointless task.
Nice.
From the library, we picked up Miitopia, so I've actually continued from my demo and getting pretty far along there. It's a very interesting and quirky story. I've never played the 3DS version. It's a very simplified RPG, which is kind of nice there, and it's very silly in nature with the Mii characters having all sorts of funny expressions and whatnot. So I'm already up to the volcanic area to face the Dark Lord sooner or later, and then my daughter has her own save file, and she just beat the Dark Lord this morning. So it's kind of interesting to see that there's even more game after that. I thought that was going to be the end game, but apparently there's a few more worlds after that to do. I'm really enjoying putting my family members in as different characters. I'm fighting against my mom and dad are fighting at my side and stuff like that, and brothers and sisters. Even put in my nephew that's a baby, so I was try to inspire some sort of baby-like character. But so it was all fun and games, just making characters and customizing them with different jobs and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. Hope to complete in the next few weeks. And then finally still doing Fire Emblem Heroes on mobile, but I've kind of been scaling back a little bit, not doing a lot of the competitive as hardcore as I was previously, but I'm still actively playing and trying to make my teams better, and still summoning on banners and whatnot.
Nice.
That's it from my end.
Cool. Just going back to the chat, there's lots going on. So I'm going to scroll back here just a little bit, and looks like Jakester has been playing Xenoblade, Dragon Quest, Tetris 99, Fate Grand Order, and downloading Fuser. Yeah, if you haven't saw yet, Fuser is going to be free for a week or something like that. I think is that only for Nintendo Online subscribers, or is that just in general? Do you guys know?
I think it's their online subscriber bonus thing, and then I don't think you get to keep it though after the time period.
No, not like the Xbox and PlayStation stuff, but it's still cool that you get to play pretty much the full game for a week. So if you haven't checked that out, you can. Hunter's Clarice is in there and saying played Final Fantasy 14 and Pokemon. Is this a Final Fantasy teammate or play? I don't know, whatever you call them, of yours, Barry? Do you guys play together?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Assuming. If not, that'd just be a cool coincidence that you guys both play.
Well, there's a ton of people.
There are. That is true. Let's see. Looks like Hassan's jumping in. Apparently, Hassan has some new shoes. What's up with his sneakers?
He has Megazord sneakers he was sent.
Nice. Of course he was. That's awesome. And then we're talking about dinner.
I was waiting for him to say he got those Marios.
I know.
I
Has
was
he
waiting for
gotten
him
the
to say he
Mario
got those
ones?
Mario sneakers.
I've
I
thought
feel
about
like
getting
there'd
the
be
Mario
something he'd get
ones
because
several times, but I haven't yet. Yeah, so I've been playing Rocket League, um, and that's about it. But no, I actually it occurred to me that I play another game on mobile that I've been playing for years that I never talk about. I play Clash Royale. I started off playing Clash of Clans like years ago, and then switched over to Clash Royale, and I just got my king leveled up to the highest level on that on level 13. So that was cool this week. So I don't know how many people are still sticking with Clash Royale, but I've been sticking with it and had the same clan the whole time. It's fun to play with those guys, and yeah. So I have been playing a couple different games, but only one. Actually, neither of them on Switch. I haven't booted up my Switch in a while, except to like download games. And we're going to talk about this later tonight, in just a little bit, actually. But I wanted to play some Smash Brothers, and well, those of you guys on the video version, you're going to see this. There's something missing in this case, and I have no idea where my copy of Smash Brothers is. So it's going to take a little while for me to track it down. It's somewhere in my house, and so this is my little mini rant on this is why I get digital games
yes,
because that doesn't happen. But I like having it physical. It's great. I have several physical games, not nearly as many as Barry. But this is why I do like digital because I don't misplace them. And I don't have to go, you know, looking everywhere in my house to track down my copy of Smash Brothers if it was
The
digital.
lesson to take from this is not that you should have digital; it's that you should become a more responsible adult.
I know where I'm almost positive I know not the location, the general location. I know that it's probably in my old Switch case. I just don't know where that Switch case is because I've been using a different one for the last several months when I travel, and that original one, like the Zelda one that we got with like the special edition, I'm almost positive that's where it is. I just have no idea where that case is because I haven't used it in a while. So, Jakester, yeah, that's right. I don't get very often that I can take any sort of thing that resembles a stab. So I'm gonna take it right now.
yeah, just like how my dog ate my copy of Animal Crossing.
There
Like,
you
how am I
go.
supposed to play it when the dog eats the cartridge? If it would have been digitally downloaded to the system, I'd still be able to play the game.
Unless your dog ate
Yeah,
your
I
whole
wouldn't have to
system.
find this little tiny
Yeah,
little
but
piece
if
of
your dog
plastic
ate the
that's very
system,
easy to get lost there.
dog ate your system, you lose it all. You have to pay Nintendo $80 to get your games back.
That is well, you've went through that before.
Yes, I have.
Oh, so does Greg with his Wii games or whatever.
Not
But
with Switch though.
no, not with Switch.
With Switch, it's all on your account. Like I'm able to download
That is
games on my
true. It's so
daughter's
much
Switch
better
with
now.
my profile.
Yeah, it's so much better now. Finally,
I was able to
they made
download
that.
Mario Odyssey onto her Switch. I was like,
Nice. Kevin Wallace, hey guys, hey back to you, Kevin. And so before we jump into any of the news discussion, we've got a special announcement. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel recently, we just posted a new industry talk just the other day. Barry had his annual chat about Play NYC, and we've got an exciting thing to share with you. So Barry, take it away. What's all this exciting news about?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, a company called Playcrafting, every single year since 2017 has put on a show called Play NYC, which is a video game convention in Manhattan. And last year, because of the pandemic, it was an online convention, so everybody could attend because there was no physical convention. But they're back this year, back with a physical convention, and they will have some online stuff. So if you're not in the New York City area, you will still be able to participate and get some exposure to these games that are going to be shown off. But they have been a huge supporter of NintendoFuse, and we have been a huge supporter of them since they started the CEO of Playcrafting, Dan Butchko, has become a very good friend of mine, and I got to sit down and talk with him. So I definitely recommend checking out that industry talk. We go over all the new stuff that's happening this year at Play NYC, and we also tackle safety concerns if that's one of the things that's bothering you, and what they're doing to combat that, because this is a new world, getting back into conventions. A lot of people are still a little uneasy, but they have been very gracious to us, and they have offered us some tickets, some tickets for their what they call the Dev Pro Pass. These are $100 tickets. They give you access to both days and a party on Saturday night. So it is August 7th to 8th, which is a weekend. It's a 2-day convention, and we have some tickets to give away. So we will be doing a Twitter contest. So make sure to follow us at NintendoFuse on all the ways and how to enter this contest. And if you're unable to win, or you just say, you know what, I don't really do Twitter, but I do want to attend. Play NYC sounds good to you, and something that you really want to attend. I do also have some good news, because they're so gracious that we have a coupon code for you. So if you do want to go, and you go to play-nyc.com, you can purchase tickets, and when you check out, use the code FUSE40, FUSE 40. That will give you 40% off your entire purchase. So if you buy a Dev Pro Pass, if you buy a Saturday Pass or Sunday Pass, or Saturday and Sunday, you just want to do that, you don't want the party, Fuse 40 will get you 40% off. So definitely want to thank the great folks at Playcrafting and Dan for providing us this code to give you. And if this is something that sounds great to you, absolutely check it out. We will be talking about it more in future casts, but also check out that industry talk, which is live now, and also stay tuned to our Twitter for the contest, and maybe you'll win tickets. It's a great show. We've had some great, experiences, and we've had a lot of, feedback from viewers and winners from previous years, because we've done this before, that have been very appreciative to go to that show. So it's just an awesome show. I've had the pleasure of going for 3 of the years.
Yeah. Thanks so much to Dan and the whole Playcrafting team. It's been awesome to kind of have this partnership every year, and to hear Barry's interviews, and just kind of hear the progress every year. And you said it in the interview itself, it keeps getting better every year. And one of these days, maybe I'll actually make it out there. I heard what you said before and after the podcast, or the interview. I listened to that before I edit it.
You were supposed to be there with me. We were supposed to go together, and you bailed on me. So I got to take my jab.
I had to move. You should really just talk to him about doing, Play Denver sometime. That'd be good.
Who knows?
Did I hear Play Chicago? Oh, all right.
Yeah, there you go. I think you should expand, just like PAX did eventually.
Hey, you know what? It's growing bigger every single year, and that's always a possibility.
It's true. So
be sure to. You know what? You should talk.
I should talk
go
to
on
him.
Twitter. Go say, hey Dan, any chance on expanding the Play line? That'd be great.
There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of indie developers out here that he can talk to and get them to come to the show. It'd be great. I have no connections at all, but I will attend. No, we have a really great convention center in Denver that would, I'm sure, would love to, host you. I don't know who to talk to, but find someone. Cleary says in the West Coast, not possible. Yeah, so maybe if you exactly, that's how I work. You do the work, I'll come. Yeah, so this, of course, this is open, like we said, to anybody. So we'll provide the tickets if you win the contest and everything. But yeah, you provide your transportation. So if you're close, that's a whole lot easier to come. But like Clarice is on the West Coast, but you could still come. I probably will be there from Denver, but maybe we'll see. One of these days, maybe I'll make that trip. So
you travel more than any of us, Steve. So
that is true. That is true. But let's move into some exciting stuff. So we have a game that we're going to be reviewing tonight, and we've hinted at it a couple weeks ago. Actually, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago is when we first hinted at it, and we're gonna do a little game chat and talk about this particular game. So I'm gonna toss it over to Barry because he was the one that kind of connected us with this company and everything. They contacted him, and we ended up being able to turn this into a little game chat. So Barry, take it away.
Yeah. So I got this contact, and it was like, hey, are you interested in checking out my game? And it was like, yeah, sure. And the developer of this game, the game is called Long Ago, A Puzzle Tale. It's from Grim Talon, who reached out on Twitter, and I've had quite a bit of conversations with them. They're really, really awesome, really nice to work with. And they also provided us a code to give away for the game, and which we gave away last episode. We were supposed to have this talk with the giveaway, but due to E3, we had to postpone this talk. This did come out May 28th of this year, so just last month. Actually, last month almost to the day. It is a puzzle game, and where you have over 80 puzzles, and you kind of go through this like story mode, and as you go through each chapter, you have to roll this ball X amount of times because it changes, and try and get all the objectives you need to get. But it gets challenging pretty quickly. I was shocked at the challenge level, like the jump. I was like, oh my god! Like the fourth round was like, oh, this is kicking my butt because you only have X amount of times and to move. So the idea is to figure out how to collect everything within the allotted amount of moves, and a lot of fun. And the music was great. The visuals were nice and relaxing. It was colorful. It wasn't easy to see. It's like an isometric view. Greg, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you got to play it too.
Well, at a glance, obviously you're seeing like it's a ball rolling, but it's much like an ice block puzzle. So anyone that's played Ocarina of Time, there's that ice dungeon. You have to slide the blocks, and pretty much as soon as you commit to the move, the ball is obviously rolling all the way across until it either interacts with something or it hits the edge wall. So that's a main premise and kind of how it works. But as you were saying, your first time through the level, you're collecting these feathers, and then on the second playthrough of that same level, you're collecting all the coins. So in order to unlock future levels, and you collect the feathers first, and then to unlock the next world of next 15, 16 courses, you have to then collect all the coins. So they do have a fail safe in there. So if you're absolutely bad at these kinds of puzzles, there's a little meter that builds up on the left-hand side that will give you the hint on which move to do. So that's kind of nice if you fail the level a certain number of times. I had to do that on some of the later levels, both on the coins and on the feathers, just because it's very difficult to get through and get all 3 gems, at least on the first few attempts. So it's pretty easy to get at least the first gem on the level, but getting like 2 or 3 either requires you to kind of figure out how the puzzle is intended to be played through, or just kind of needing to resort to using the little help meter on the side. So that was definitely a very good blessing to have in a puzzle game. So then if you get too stuck, then you are still able to proceed and play other levels in the game that it has to offer. Like you were saying, it's beautiful levels, tons of puzzles added to it, and lots of great music to listen, or not really lots of great music, but a very beautiful soundtrack to listen to while you're solving the puzzle, and everything was very fun to experience.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing as you guys so far. I mean, it was one of those games that I really did not think I would be playing nearly as much. I popped it in, a couple weeks ago, and started it up. I was like, I gotta get some time, and so we can actually talk about it. And the next thing I know, a few hours go by, and I'm still playing and still trying to progress through it. And the challenge that I've noticed with the puzzles is not overwhelming. I think it definitely gets difficult, like what you guys said, but for me, it was one of those kind of like, I thought, okay, I can do this. And so it was challenging me enough to keep going, but not to give up. And one thing I did notice though with the hint system, I think you can only do it from the very beginning, or at least that seemed like it. So like if I had already made several moves, I was having trouble with the hint system actually giving me a hint. It seemed like I could only do that from the very beginning of each map, and so I had to kind of get hints throughout the whole thing. Or maybe it's just because I didn't take the correct move first, and so then it had nothing to give me because I already messed up. But anyhow, it's kind of cool that it was there, and it does kind of build up over time, and so you can't just like have it play for you. But yeah, I never got tired of the music, the anything like that. It fit the environment, and yeah, it was pretty fun. And then I'm excited to kind of go back to it. I think it'd be one of those games that I don't play all the time, but it'll be nice when I am traveling or I got a little extra time here, try to complete a couple puzzles, and then kind of move on. But yeah, the first little bit, I was playing for a couple hours before I knew it. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. There's definitely that hook as you start getting into that groove. It's what I love about puzzle games in that regards, where once it clicks with you, you can just kind of, all right, what's next? What's next? I'm gonna overcome. I like the fact that there is a hint system because some of these games can be very frustrating, and especially if it's like only one way to do and solve. It's like, oh, you made a right instead of a left. Oh, where did I go wrong? But I like that there's a lot of content. I like that you have to do each level multiple times, and I think this is a great pick up and play title. This is one that I'm happy to have on my Switch because it will be one that like, hey, I've got 10 minutes to kill. As much as I love the big epic RPGs, it's one of those things where I'm not gonna be able to pop into an RPG for 10 minutes because it's gonna want to suck me in for hours. But this is the type of thing where, hey, I'm gonna do a couple of these levels and accomplish something in a small amount of time, and I like that. I like that a lot. Now this game is $9.99. Greg, would you recommend this as a purchase, or would at $9.99, or would you recommend waiting for a sale, or what would you say?
I would recommend it if you kind of enjoy these like ice blockish like style puzzles, because as we've all said, it can be frustrating at times even with the hint system, because I've noticed like even if I wanted to use the hint system, I still had to play the level through like at least a dozen times or whatever before I could get the 3 gems. But in terms of its overall value, like I was saying, if you do really enjoy these styles of puzzles, yes, it's definitely worth it. I probably would wait for a sale personally if I were to buy this one, even having like a demo version, just because the frustration just kind of like adds extra time into it. And we've always said like a game that's wasting your time is not the most enjoyable experience. So if it's going to take a while to build up to use your hint system and even use it like from the start of the level, then that can definitely lead you to not want to enjoy it as much. So
Gotcha.
That's fair. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, actually, this is one of I think the rare games that I'm gonna say I think it's worth the 9.99. Normally I'd be like, yeah, it needs to be cheaper, but I think it's worth $10. I think there's plenty of puzzles there. I actually don't think it's too frustrating. I don't think it's, but I think you have to be into this kind of a genre to appreciate it. So if you appreciate this kind of genre, $10 is definitely not too much. It would be great, yeah, if they did have a demo so you could check out, a couple levels and see if you like this sort of thing. But at the same time, this is not a brand new kind of type of a game. So I'm sure there's some other type of a game out there that you can check out a demo and see if you like this kind of genre before you play this one. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is the story. It does not matter to me whatsoever, which is kind of unfortunate because it's kind of built around this story and this tale. I have no interest in the story whatsoever. I just want to progress through the puzzles and beat them all. But it's cool for those people that enjoy that. I guess it's just an added bonus. But you don't even have to pay attention to it. I have not been paying attention to the story and still having a lot of fun.
I actually really enjoyed the story. Almost wish there was more, because there's only 6 that have like the story pieces, and I would always listen to the narration. I just love them doing the voice acting of the like reading it out, even though I could just read it. But I appreciate just kind of like listening to them like go through it.
Nice.
Yeah, see, there you go. Conflicting opinions, but that's great because you get to make your own. As for me, I think if this is the type of game you really enjoy, you like the sliding block puzzles and all that, I think there's enough content here for the $9.99 price tag. I think they really did a good job with the presentation. The fact that they even added a story, because a game like this doesn't actually need a story, but the fact that it was added is like that extra level. And the puzzles are good. I mean, it's not like too easy. It's not too hard. There's a little bit of frustration here or there, for sure, depending on your skill level. But I think there's enough content to warrant it. If this is not your cup of tea, then I'd say maybe wait for a sale to give it a try. Because you don't want to spend $10 on something you're not going to enjoy. Demo would be great, of course. But yeah, so that's our thoughts. I do want to thank once again Grim Talon for providing us the codes, not only for this game chat, but also for the giveaway. It is very much appreciated. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much. And Kevin Wallace is in the chat. He won the code a couple weeks ago in their last podcast, and he said, "Thanks for the code, guys. My mother-in-law has been playing it on her Switch, and she says it's frustrating." So I hope that's a good frustrating. Like, oh man, because that's how I felt when I played this game. I was like, it's a good frustrating. Like, I should be able to figure this out, and I'm going to. I'm not gonna eat. I'm not gonna sleep until I figure this out. And it's so frustrating sometimes when you just have like one wrong move and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? But it's like you said, Greg, it's kind of like those Zelda puzzles.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine with the number of them, but there was like a few level, like 1 or 2 levels here or there. Like I literally couldn't solve it for the life of me, so I just like purposely did the same track like whatever 20 times until it just finally gave me the hint system. Like why didn't, like, I felt like I've tried like something along those lines, but obviously I didn't do the precise movement, otherwise I wouldn't be at that position. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like sometimes I don't reaching that level of frustration where I'm like waiting for like the hint system. It's almost like if you're trying to use like the white suit in the 3D World game, then you purposely die. Like you only have to do it like 5 times. It's not like you have to like get a game over screen or something to get it. Like seems like it appears a lot sooner than maybe you don't even want it. So, but
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's a nice undo feature, so if you need to go back a move or two,
Yeah.
it's nice and convenient.
Right. Well, let's move into the news for this week. And we just recently had a little more information about Smash Brothers. If you haven't found out yet, if you weren't paying attention to E3 and you missed Sakurai's presentation yesterday on June 28th, he showed off the latest character to Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which is Kazuya. I practiced.
Come on, you're the Tekken fan.
I always play as Jin in Tekken, so his son. So I would have been more happy if Jin was there, but it's okay. He does have an appearance, I guess, or I guess his dad actually has an appearance in the game. But yeah, there was showed off all the different moves and everything. But yeah, that's the latest character. Showed off all the things. So if you haven't checked out NintendoFuse.com, you can check out our article. David wrote up the full rundown of what happened. You can also watch the entire presentation there. It's like 40 minutes. So if you missed it, you can check that out. So we got to see all of his moves, and there's quite a bit, because he's a different type of a character than a lot of the other ones in there, even differently than the other fighting characters like Ryu and I'm totally blanking on who else is in there from
Terry.
Yeah, so kind of different from those because you actually had the full 8 move or directions for the control pad or your analog stick, similar to Tekken. So there's different moves, and similar to Ryu, and you can make those extra moves, so you can throw those in there if you know them from Street Fighter. There's several of those that have been brought in for this character from Tekken, and so it's not just one. It's like 3 or 4 different ones that you can actually pull off those extra moves. And and there's this whole additional component to him where if he gets so much damage, he gets extra power and all these different things built in to this character. And that wasn't enough. They also went on and just told the next 4 Mii Fighter costumes they're going to be coming. And so you're going to get Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, Dragonborn from Skyrim, Dante from Devil May Cry series, and Shantae from the Shantae series. So if you did not get a chance to watch that, there's also on there separately, made a lot of people upset because they were wanting some of those characters as the final character in Smash Ultimate, but probably not going to happen anymore. And then we also did get to see the Minmin Amiibo, which is going to be released in 2022. So not even a date in 2022, just sometime in 2022. So I'm guessing, at least even by how Sakurai was showing that amiibo off, it seems to be like there's going to be some intricate detail and almost kind of, he said he was going to handle it really carefully. So I wonder, even in the prototype, it didn't seem like it was very solid. So maybe there's just some extra work that's going to go into these. As we said before, it seems like they're getting closer and closer to those early prototypes where it looked really awesome. They're not just cheap knockoffs of those early prototypes. They're actually putting the really good work into actually making these newest amiibo pretty great. And they're definitely, the quality has gotten better over time. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about the entire presentation, about this new character, but also the Mii characters, or Mii costumes, and Minmin Amiibo. Barry, what do you think?
So I wasn't like, I've never been a Tekken fan. I played very, very little Tekken in my life. But as I said last time, I'm so happy for those that love Tekken. I'm not upset that he's in. It seemed pretty obvious that there was going to be another Bandai Namco rep because they were the only ones with one, really, and they helped develop the game. And when you looked at all the other Mii costumes from Smash 4, everyone has now come over except for Lloyd. Lloyd was the only one that had not come over yet. So I was personally hoping for a Tales of character. It didn't have to be Lloyd. I would have much preferred like Luke from Tales of the Abyss or Tyr from the Abyss. But I understood when it was Tekken, like, okay, it makes sense. And as your Bandai Namco rep. So once I knew that was coming, I knew Lloyd was coming as a Mii Fighter because it's like, it's the only one that hasn't come over. It's going to come over because it's Bandai Namco. As for the presentation on Kazuya, I think he looks interesting. I'll definitely run through his classic mode. I don't know if he's going to be one of my mains or anything like that. I really have to give him a try, but I don't really do competitive Smash, so it doesn't matter. But I'm going to have fun playing him. I did find it really interesting that Sakurai in his recording lost. I always figured that they did like however many takes to show him winning, but they actually like showed him losing and just left him there while his team laughed at him. And I love that. Like, he's so human. Like, he's not like, I'm God kind of deal. Like, oh, I'm a human, I lose too. I thought that was a really nice touch. As for the Mii Fighters, I've seen so many people crying about this because the character they wanted is deconfirmed. And it's one of those cases. I felt that way too when it was first shown off and Rex was a Mii Fighter. I was like, oh man, what do you mean that Xenoblade 2 couldn't get in on this? But at the same time, you should be happy at least they have some representation. Plus, those like 90 or 100 plus characters that people are clamoring for, and there's one more slot. I mean, you're not going to please everybody. So at least be happy that this is there. And the fact that these exist means that this is now on Sakurai's radar. I mean, he even says afterwards, like, a lot of people wanted these to be full-fledged characters. So because of that, there's always hope for the next Smash game that these will now translate into full-fledged characters, which would be awesome. I mean, I would have loved to see Dante. But here's another kicker. So many people are like, oh, I wanted Dante. What the heck? But if they announced Dante, the same people would have been like, oh, another anime sword fighter. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Like, you can never be pleased. It seems like people just don't want to be pleased here, and it sucks. I hate for Sakurai's position because he's like, I can't please everybody. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. And it's one of those things where I like anime sword fighters, so it's fine with me. And yes, Dante has a bunch of other weapons, and I did my Devil May Cry marathon earlier this year, but that also included the Devil May Cry anime. Okay, so he's still an anime sword fighter, and I'm happy to see that. Ashante was good. I mean, she was a spirit. It's nice to see, some more indie representation. I figured she would get at least a costume since Sans got in there, and then you've got the Dragonborn, from Elder Scrolls. That came out of nowhere. And you know what? The people who are clamoring for like Doom Guy, I'd rather see Doom Guy be like a gunner outfit than a full-fledged character, just for me, because I really don't care about Doom Guy. But at least get him in there in that way, sure. Like I don't see a problem in it whatsoever. I saw some people complaining about the fact that they called it Dante and Dragonborn instead of Elder Scrolls and Devil May Cry, and they've done that with some others. Apparently, it's something with the ESRB now that happened after like Joker got in, where if you have like an E or an E10 game, you can't show the logo to an M-rated game. If it's incorporated, which is so weird. So like they couldn't show the Devil May Cry logo because Devil May Cry is an M-rated game, so they had to just say Dante, and the same with Elder Scrolls, which is so weird. I don't know why the ESRB is like that, but so that seems to be why like Altair was shown instead of Assassin's Creed, and Vault Boy instead of Fallout and stuff like that. That seems Travis instead of No More Heroes. That seems to be the reason why they're doing it, is because the ESRB is forcing them to, which is again so stupid.
Maybe so. It does make sense though. That like I hadn't heard that, but that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I would think so, because this is like a celebration of gaming, and that's how a lot of people, like at least in the West, figured out about Fire Emblem. It's like, who's Roy and Marth? It's like, oh, they're
Yeah.
from Fire Emblem. So if those were M-rated games, Nintendo would have just turned them on to like that. But it's obviously that's why it's got to be that, because if they say like, oh, this guy's from a M-rated game, and then the child's like, oh, mommy, I want this game because he's in Smash Brothers, and the mommy's like, oh, okay, that sounds good, and then buys it, and not really supposed to be doing that, obviously.
Now, I don't know what that means for like full-fledged fighters and full-fledged fighters going forward. I mean, I'm assuming every character, including Joker, that were in beforehand, are like grandfathered into that thing. Like Bayonetta can still say Bayonetta's from Bayonetta kind of deal and stuff like that. But
well, it's
Solid
tough when
Snake is from,
it's named after
but like
game
Solid
itself.
Snake is from Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that. I think those are like grandfathered in, but I really hope that for full-fledged fighters, at the very least, they can show the logo and say that's what they're from.
Yeah. Greg, what'd you think about this character? I know we chatted earlier today. Still hasn't made you make the purchase on this pack, huh?
Yeah, I think at least at this point, with only one fighter remaining, I'm pretty much not going to be getting the pack. So if I do like the last fighter, it might just be purchasing the last fighter at this point, because I don't need to have all the other fighters that are in this pass. So, as what Barry said, it's very exciting for everyone that loves Tekken. I've never played a Tekken game that I can think of, so I never even played a single one of them. It's great that that series has a representation. I know there's a huge series. Sakurai even explained like 30 some odd games in like the 25-year period it's been a series. So that's incredible, obviously, to have representation of a major series. And also, like as Barry was saying, I did also like that it showed he was human and is capable of losing at his own game. I did find some enjoyment in that, and I also liked some other jokes he was saying, like, oh, like even the very opening, like, oh, from the heaven above, like it told me, because obviously, like with Nintendo means leave luck to heaven, so it's like you kind of, people that know that kind of fact is kind of understood that reference, and he was even kind of joking around, like, oh, I don't know how this will be translated in the West, and I just love how human Sakurai is and just tells it like it is. So I have always really appreciated him like doing these presentations, even if I'm not fully into the character that he's explaining. So obviously it was kind of long going through all of his moves, but it's still kind of cool to kind of see them all in action. I'm not really huge into combos. I just kind of tried doing a bunch of different moves at different times, and hopefully they hit. So I don't usually have a game plan when I play the game. So it's wonderful just to see everything, all the details that he puts into the fighter from the character's home series, and even like the awesome level that we're getting. Like that's really cool to have like a destroyable level, kind of like Luigi's Mansion, but it's actually a little bit more limiting on the sides of the level, and you can actually lose at like 0% from one of his moves if you're hit at like with the right kind of attack or whatever. So that was definitely really cool. In terms of like the Mii Fighters, it's really cool to see a lot more costumes added to the game. I'm actually considering making my first purchase for like
Mm,
Dragonborn and like um Shantae even, because it comes with a free track. So I think that might be kind of cool, and I might actually be picking up my first Mii costumes, I think. But yeah, and
nice.
obviously the Amiibo is exciting, and can't wait to have to pre-order that one next year.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think Barry, you said it in the chat as well. I also agree. I think it'd be great if they offered some sort of bundle for the Mii characters, because I've not felt the desire to get any of them. Well, there's been a couple, but at the same time, like, when it came to actually making the effort of logging in and paying 75 cents, I was like, nah, it's not really that worth it. It's just a costume. But if they offered some way to get them all together, that could kind of be pretty cool. But yeah, as you see on the screen right now, everything was supposed to launch today, so they actually may be out by the time, as we're speaking right now. But as of earlier, they were not available. I was trying to see if they were available and play the game, but I misplaced my cartridge. Um, so hopefully I'll find that soon and be able to check it out myself. But I did have the pack already, and so I'll look forward to definitely checking out this character, but also yeah, I'm probably not going to be getting any of these Mii characters. The idea of having Shantae in there is fun. Unfortunate. I think that was probably the one of the four that was like, oh, I really thought that would be a cool character to bring in as a full-fledged character, but not having her there. Everything makes sense. She's just the brawler Mii. Totally makes sense. But you can't use your hair. And it seems weird to play as Shantae, but you can't use your hair. But oh well. Um, but yeah, comes out later tonight on July 29th, or sorry, June 29th, right? Is that right?
Yeah, June. It's
Oh,
June.
I just realizing that, oops, I got to go back and edit an article because it says July 29th, but June 29th is when that goes live. So yeah, maybe if you're watching live with us right now, maybe we can play some Smash later on with these new characters and costumes, if I can find my cartridge. But yeah. Well, let's move on. We had some other additional stories this last week. Barry, you want to tell us a little bit about this big concert that happened?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, there's a company called Nihon Falcon in Japan, and I will tell you this flat out: they are the company making the absolute best games that you are not playing. And they celebrated 40 years. And the way they celebrated was they had a concert with their in-house band, because their in-house band does their music for their games, which is awesome. And they actually, ironically, did this as a concert for Western audiences. Like, they build this like this is also really for Western audiences. So it aired at 1 o'clock in the morning, my time, Eastern. So naturally, there I was on my phone right here, watching in bed, because I'm like, all right, I just got to see this concert. And it was like an hour long. Great concert. Definitely check it out. The recording is there. You can watch it there. Awesome live. But what's cool is, in addition to playing some classic music from the Ys series and the Legend of Heroes series, they didn't stop there. They actually dropped some announcements. And they dropped not one, not two, not three, but four titles coming to America. And not only are they coming to America, they're coming to PC, PS4, and of course the Nintendo Switch, which is huge, huge, absolutely huge that we're getting these games, because these games came out, or at least three of them came out a while ago, and we just never got localization. And they are The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero and The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, which are the two Crossbell games, which we've all been dying for this fan translations, but we're finally getting them. The duology is coming over. We're also getting The Legend of Heroes Trails into Revere, which is the game after Cold Steel 4, which is ready on the Switch. And then The Legend of Neuta Boundless Trails, which is kind of like a non-canon game, but it's cool that it's being included in this. So now we just need a few more, the Sky trilogy and the first 2 Cold Steel on the Switch, and we will have the whole shebang on the Switch, which is fantastic. These are great RPGs with compelling stories, and it's fantastic to see them listen. And what's really cool is this actually came about with a partnership with, I forget the name of the company that did the fan translations. They did the fan translations, and they working with NIS America. They actually partnered up to allow those translations to be used officially in these, because NIS America doesn't have the time or the money to really do the translation. So they're working in conjunction to get these games out there using these translations officially and published out there, which is a dream come true, because these people did it because they love these games so much they wanted to translate these RPGs for Western audiences. Now their translation is going to be the official translation out there, and it saves NIS a lot of time to get these games out. And because of that, these translations, if you wanted to use them, you have to like hack your system and download the patch and patch it in. Now these are going to be officially released. And what's great is the Switch doesn't have these. Like, even if you did want to play them and use those translations, you couldn't play them on the Switch. They were never released. So now they're coming to the Switch, which is phenomenal, as well as the PS4 and the PC. Another thing is with Falcom. Falcom doesn't like to develop games for more than one system. So they will develop a game for one system, and then NIS or Xseed or whoever is publishing the game will port it, which is why Ys 9, Trails of Cold Steel 3 and Trails of Cold Steel 4, the most recent games, came to PS4 first, and it then came to Switch and PC after the fact, because Falcom didn't do those, NIS America did, including Ys 9, which is coming out, I think, in a week for PC and Switch finally, because that's the way it works. So this is all coming to Switch, PS4, PC the same day for all 4 of these games, which is great. The unfortunate thing is it's going to be 2022 and 2023 by the time they all come out, so we will have to wait a little bit. However, that's perfect time to catch up on these series.
That's a really good point. Yeah, as I was looking through this and everything, that the big thought, that I always talk about, and it seems like we always mention when it comes to RPGs, is where's the time to play all these. But that's good to hear, because I actually didn't realize that it was going to take that long. So maybe you could kind of play them as you go. But that's really cool to hear. I had, like, I know you talked about them, all the other games and stuff, several times, but I had never like fully looked into them as much as I was getting ready for this story. And the artwork is amazing. Like, I've no exact time at all playing the game at all, but I was really impressed with the artwork. This is a really pretty looking game, or a set of games.
Yeah, and they're like done like the Cold Steel are more like 3D stuff, but these are more like, almost feel like PlayStation SNES kind of like settings. Like, they could be, I mean, obviously prettier then, but they feel more like old
Yeah,
school RPGs, and they're
yeah,
graphical.
which is really cool. Like, that's actually maybe is drawing me in more. It's kind of like the Mana kind of series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, maybe I will eventually get into this sort of thing if I have the time. Greg, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Steve. I've never really given the time and to look into it until obviously we had this discussion topic. I've got like a little gameplay thing just playing in the background on one of my other monitors, and it looks like a lot of fun. So it's definitely something I'll have to be looking a lot more into now that I'm more aware of it. And obviously with an official English translation, that'll be incredible to get. So, I mean, from a very short basis thing, I'm looking at like the combat system. It kind of reminds me a tad of like a combination of like Final Fantasy and even like that oddball Quest 64 game that was god awful. But it's kind of get to like you go up to the opponent and actually attack them from there, and then there's like a little range around it, and then you can move all around the little tiny like grid system. So at least that's the one RPG that I have experience with that kind of combat. But it does look incredible. Those graphics are very pretty and very detailed and everything. So it's really looks like a really fun game to dive into, and easily could sink lots of hours into.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like what you said, Barry, too, is that they use the fan translations. That's so cool. Like
Yeah.
because so many fans out there are putting hours and hours of hard work to do this just because they love the game so much, and that's really cool that they get to see their translation as the one that's used in the West. That's awesome. That would be so cool if I was that person that put all of that hard work in to see my work actually being used. That's just really awesome.
Yeah, they really wanted to. I mean, they wanted to get these games out there. They knew that American fans were really clamoring for these games. It's these aren't million sellers like 4 or 5 millions, but there's enough of a following for it that people really want these games and have been asking for these games. And unfortunately, NIS America is a smaller studio. I mean, they just are, and they knew that they didn't have the time and the effort and the money to just go ahead and sink into these big RPGs. And to be able to make this partnership work is fantastic because this lets them skip a lot of that time. I'm sure they're gonna implement it, and they're probably gonna look over the translation and just like edit it, kind of like, oh, the book's already written, let me edit it. I'm sure they'll be doing some of that because they're coming 2022, 2023. So that's understandable, but still, the fact that this is even happening is fantastic. And like I said, Falcom has slowly climbed up there for me in terms of top developers. And if you've never played like the Ys games and you like Zelda, you would probably love the Ys games because they're action RPGs. And you can play 3 of them on the Switch. Well, 3 of them next week on the Switch. Phenomenal games. And it's the same with The Legend of Heroes. Like, they make some great action and turn-based RPGs with great stories, great music, and they love interconnected stories. Like you think the MCU is cool. If you like the MCU style of storytelling, you will love their style of storytelling.
That's cool. And of course, Jakester has to bring up now. If only Nintendo did this with Mother 3 to
Yeah,
bring the
exactly.
translation.
That's true. If only Nintendo's a little too prideful, I think.
If only.
I've heard there's a lot more than just them using the translation, though. I've heard that there's some not very good culture identifying issues that are present in some of that stuff that hasn't aged well, kind of like some of the Disney movies that are kind of shown like, oh, this was made at a time or something like what
Yeah.
in the past, and it wasn't acceptable then, but it's not acceptable now either. So it's like,
Look,
I'm fearing that's
if they were able to take Dragon Ball and turn collecting Bulma's panties into collecting tuna fish sandwiches for Master Roshi on the NES, they can absolutely do something like that on the Switch.
They can, for sure. It's just the desire. And that's the biggest thing is like I'm with you, Jakester. I'm not even that huge. Like you're a gigantic Mother fan. Like for this to finally come out would be amazing for you. It'd be exciting for me, but still, like I don't understand why. Like at this point, like are they only just building more hype? They've got to eventually do this, right? They know they're going to sell a lot of copies or downloads or what do they end up doing. I don't know.
maybe they just need another Wii U successor, like on like a very short platform with a very small install base, like how they put the first Earthbound on there.
Right.
If they just made a trilogy on the Switch, made it physical, even if they did something dumb like, oh, it's only going to be around for 2 weeks or whatever, that would sell like gangbusters. Like, Nintendo stuff is notorious for selling out. I mean, the Metroid Dread Collector's Edition sold out. You can't get it anymore. It's all pre-orders are sold out. Why? Why is that? That shouldn't be that way. If you make more, people will buy more. Yeah, that's just it. Make more, people will buy more. And you have a series like Mother. Yes, it's not a huge, well-known series, but you know whose fault that is? It's Nintendo's fault. Look at Xenoblade. Nintendo of America didn't even want to bring Xenoblade over here. We were begging for it, and it took GameStop to bring it over. Now, they not only remade the first game from the ground up, but now they're multi-million-dollar selling with every release. So it tells you, hey, people actually are interested in this stuff. Give Mother a chance. The Earthbound Beginnings and Earthbound on the Wii U Virtual Console was nice, but you're putting a game on the Wii U. That's not giving it a chance. That's asking it to die. So put it on the Switch now. Now, if you put it on the Switch and it doesn't sell, you know what? I'll hold my hands up. America doesn't want it, clearly, because there's enough install base on the Switch. But
Yep.
come on, give us a chance. Give us a trilogy. Boom, easy peasy, done.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I mentioned this particular series we're going to talk about in just a second ago because these other games reminded me of the Mana series. So I guess there's some more information about some exciting new things that are happening in the Mana world. So Barry, what is Square Enix doing with this Mana series?
Yeah, so this year seems to be a lot of anniversaries. And some people feel Nintendo has not done very well with Zelda's 35th. Valcom, as a company, just celebrated their 40th, and Square is celebrating the Mana series' 30th anniversary. A series that seemed to have been dead. Like, oh, this series isn't going to get any love anymore. Instead, is not only come back thanks to the Collection of Mana, the Secret of Mana remake that was on the PS4, and the Trials of Mana remake on the Switch and PS4. Now, to celebrate it, they announced a couple new announcements. The first is an anime called Legend of Mana: The Teardrop Crystal, which is perfect timing because Legend of Mana also just got a re-release on the Switch and PS4, so that like a remaster. That actually just came out physically as well in Asia, which is cool. Then there's a new mobile game called Echoes of Mana. Apparently, there's also they're taking the remake of Trials of Mana and putting that to mobile as well. But finally, there is a new console game, Mana, that is coming, a brand new console version. We don't know what consoles. My guess is probably Switch and PS4, since that's what Legend of Mana and Trials of Mana just came out on, and it seems pretty safe that those two will be the consoles to go with. But we don't know really anything else about it. But the fact that there's even a brand new console Mana game, there hasn't been a new console Mana game since, I believe, Dawn of Mana on the PS2, because after that was Children of Mana and Heroes of Mana, which were both DS games. And I'm not counting Trials of Mana or the Secret of Mana remake, because those are remakes of existing games. But brand new console Mana game is awesome, and like the fact that that's even coming, we don't know when. It's awesome. Just if you've never played a Mana game, they're like Zelda, they're action RPGs. So I'm super stoked. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I've not played the entire series, but I do go back to Final Fantasy Adventure, which is what I played. But it was Secret of Mana. Is that that's right? It's Secret of Mana. Is that
It's the first
the
Mana,
first one?
second Ditsu or whatever, Final
Yeah,
Fantasy Gaiden.
yeah. But yeah, I could go back to that, and I loved that game. It was great. It was something that I like. I love the story. I love that it wasn't super difficult, but it was engaging, and yeah, loved playing that game. And I played a couple others over the years, but haven't played the entire series. And have loved that they keep coming out with these remakes and everything. That's great. The collections, all those stuff is really cool. But to see a brand new one, that's really exciting. I could honestly, I couldn't care less about the mobile versions. All that's different stuff. That's not exciting for me at all. But to have a brand new game, that's really cool. The anime stuff is awesome. I'm just not a huge anime fan. But I may check it out. But the thing that really excites me is the brand new game. And I just wish we had more information that sometime, like that'd be great to know. At least maybe we're looking forward to this holiday or 2022 or something like that. But no, we just know sometime that's coming out. But hey, you know what? That's more than nothing. So I was pretty excited about that. Greg, what do you think?
Um, Unfortunately, I haven't played any of the Mana games. I think I did watch my brother play a little bit of Secret of Mana on SNES, but other than that, I've never actually played any of them. I think I've said this on previous podcasts. I do really want to check them out, so I think I might be making an effort to try getting in those like collection packs and stuff. But obviously, it's very exciting to do have a new entry in a series that hasn't had a new game in a while either. So that's always exciting news for many fans of those kinds of series where they get those like a revival almost modern day game.
Yeah, I highly recommend getting Collection of Mana, Greg. I actually went back last year and did Final Fantasy Adventure again, and that game is super ambitious for a Game Boy game. Like, you might want a guide just to help you out because it's a little bit cryptic at times because it was Game Boy, but it is super ambitious what they were able to do with that. And Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana are both classics, and Legend of Mana, of course, is another great game that just came out remastered. And if you like Trials of Mana on the Collection of Mana, which is the 16-bit Super Nintendo version, that game had 6 characters. So you can actually then get the 3D remake also on the Switch and play with the other 3 characters. And the game changes quite a bit depending on what you have. And the 3D remake actually has some new stuff added on after you beat the regular game. So you can really get a lot of bang for your buck there and experience the majority of the Mana games on the Switch now. The first 4 titles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think I remember. I think I shared the story in a previous podcast, but I think the funny interaction that I had with the Mana series in the beginning was I played it by accident, because I actually traded my Game Boy cartridge. I can't remember what game I traded off for it, but I traded a cartridge to someone else, and they told me that they had. I thought it was an actual Final Fantasy game. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I got Final Fantasy. Cool, cool. I have Final Fantasy, so I'll play that game." And then I put it in, and it was like Final Fantasy Adventure. I don't know what that game is, and started playing it. It was like, this is really different than the other Final Fantasies. But that didn't stop me though. I totally got sucked in. So I didn't intentionally play the game, but I loved it nonetheless. And yeah, if you're probably wondering why I didn't know, it's because the sticker was peeled off the cartridge, so all I had was just a blank cartridge with some like stickiness on where the sticker should be. So I just popped in my Game Boy and started playing. So.
Yeah, it's interesting if you think about it. The Game Boy had 4 Final Fantasies, and none of them were Final Fantasies because they used that in America to try and sell the games. Granted, the Mana series is officially called Final Fantasy Gaiden, or Side Story, so it is a spin-off of the Final Fantasy series. The other 3, the Legend games, were actually Saga series. And what's interesting is the Switch has all 4 of those games because there's the collection of Saga as well with the 3 Final Fantasy Legends, and then Collection of Mana has Final Fantasy Legend or Adventure on it, which is great. And Saga just got Saga Frontier on the Switch as well. So like both of these series just got remakes coming back onto the Switch, and it's like a renaissance almost of classic Square.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're into classic Square RPGs, get excited. And if you haven't checked them out yet, Greg, you should. This is the rare time that I get to actually recommend an RPG that I've played that you guys, at least one of you guys, have not played. But
I had very limited exposure growing up.
Yeah, clearly you were sheltered. You were
I
sheltered.
didn't have tons of Game Boy games.
Well, there are some games that you enjoy. So, Greg, kick us off with a couple of these headlines. And you're a big fan of Metroid. So, what's going on in the Metroid world?
Well, I'm going to be doing 2 different headlines back to back. Just heads up, all the listeners, regarding Metroid. The first one is in regards to the Wii U Virtual Console. So, due to the Metroid Dread announcement at E3, looks like sales have spiked on the Wii U eShop. So like Metroid Zero Mission is the number 1 purchase game, Metroid Fusion is number 2, and then even at number 4 was confirmed by a different outlet that the Metroid Prime Trilogy is up there. So as you can see, the Metroid just kind of boomed over onto Wii U, like the sales charts. Obviously, there's probably not a ton of people buying it, but it was enough to obviously make the sales charts and update to be really solid there. So, following that right up
5 sales.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like 5 sales is good enough for number 1 probably. So even the 3DS eShop has seen a nice increase. Samus or Metroid Samus Returns ranked in at number 2, at least for like the eShop version. So like even like there's even like a trailer for Metroid Fusion even made the top 20 kind of thing for the videos, which is also pretty interesting to see there. So the 3DS has also been like doing like the 2D Metroid Haven, so you can play the original Metroid on the 3DS Virtual Console. You can get Super Metroid if you have the 3DS or new 3DS XL or whatever. And then if you are a Game Boy ambassador, you already have Metroid Fusion. And I think you can also get like Zero Mission or something from the eShop as well, I think. I'm not sure about that, but I thought just about all the main 4 games are all on the 3DS if you're looking for a one-stop shop.
Yeah, and since we were just talking about some concerts with the Neon Falcon 40th anniversary, that was actually wasn't the only concert to happen over the past week. This was teased at the Sonic Central, which, if you remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about. The Sonic 30th anniversary symphony aired on June 23rd. If you haven't checked that out, it's fantastic. It starts with symphony orchestra doing melodies of most of the games, and then finishes up with the in-house band doing songs from like Sonic Colors, and then finally finishes off with Crush 40 coming back, doing a bunch of Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 songs, as well as like Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Boom, and from Sonic CD and all that stuff. It's just an awesome concert, and if you love Sonic music, definitely recommend you check that out.
Nice. Yeah, it was so cool. I love every time I get to hear video game music played by like a full orchestra. It's just like nostalgia starts coming back, and I was like, as I was waiting for it to start, it was like they better start with Green Hill Zone. They better start like
First thing they do.
And they did. It was like, oh yes, it's so
and
great.
Of course they end with Live and Learn. It's like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so good. But yeah, I think I think the Metroid stuff and all that, it's kind of funny. Like I joked earlier, I mean, it could have been 5 sales on the Wii U, because I'm sure that there's not a ton of games, that are selling on that right now. But it is cool that that Metroid's getting some love. Yeah, do you guys have any further thoughts about either of these stories, either of these headlines, Barry?
I'm happy to see Metroid Love. I mean, it's one of those series that it's people call it as like part of the Triforce, Mario, Zelda, Metroid. Truth is, Metroid is a black sheep in that regards. Like, it is not a sales juggernaut at all. It does sell better in the West, but it's not a sales juggernaut. Like Pikachu would be, and Pokemon would absolutely be a better part in that Triforce. Hell, right now Xenoblade would probably be a better part in that Triforce. They just really have not looked at Metroid favorably, and almost to the point of tone deaf, when they did like Federation Force, which I was fine with, but I know a lot of people didn't like it. And Samus Returns was a great return to form, and Metroid Prime 4 announcement, of course, blew up the internet. We're still waiting for that game. But I like the fact that people are going back and maybe experiencing these games for the first time, because, there's so many games out there and there's not enough time to play them. So even if you don't have something new to play, if you go back to something that's older but you've never played, it's new to you. And it might as well be a brand new game. And that's where some people are like, oh, I don't want ports or all this stuff. Like, ports aren't for you if you've played the game. Ports are for people who have never had the chance to play these games. And that's why I'm always for ports, because I'm always for people catching up. That's why I'm doing my little marathons now. Like, I'm doing the Danganronpa games. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary, and I'm going through them now because I didn't have time to do them before. And getting to go through and experience games I never got to do is great because they're new to me. So if people are doing that with Metroid, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for them, and I'm jealous. I wish I could play like Super Metroid for the first time again. It's just one of those fantastic classic games, and I'm looking very much forward to Dread because of it.
Yeah,
that's cool. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited for Dread and even Metroid Prime 4, because I've even said a number of predictions. I was hoping we'd get news on it, but wasn't the news we wanted at E3 this year. But obviously that's still going to be something coming in the future. Hopefully, I really hope it makes the Switch console, along with them being able to port the trilogy over. But I don't know if you guys saw, but there was like some news articles and other things about people questioning the value of Metroid Dread at being a 2D game and selling for a full $60. People are thinking games like Hollow Knight is like only like $10-15, and it's super expansive and also a Metroidvania type of game. And then here's like an official Metroid, the leader of the naming of the genre, and it's selling for full $60. I mean, me personally, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's perfectly worth it. Metroid is a very established series, and you'll definitely get your bang for your buck. But if it's a series that you don't know about, that's why you can get all the older 2D games for like less than $10 each. So if you can kind of look to see if you really like those classic ones from the NES and Super Nintendo and Game Boy, then it should be more than enough to justify a purchase of an upgraded visual and new gameplay mechanics that are being expanded upon in this day and age.
Yeah.
I'll say it here and I'll say it now. People are too entitled. Period. They don't realize what goes into a game, and 2D versus 3D does not justify the cost. It is all about how much time and effort and energy goes into a game, and it also depends on the quality of the game, and it depends on the IP. There are plenty of games that come out, like even over the past year, that are $60 or $70 on the newer systems that are not worth $60 or $70. They're not good games, hands down. So that part I get. Now, if Metroid Dread came out and it was rated like a 3.0 and the worst Metroid ever, then yeah, it wouldn't be worth $60. But if this game comes out and it's at least an 8 plus and a lengthy game, like you could beat it in 2 hours. Like, no, you know, a good 8 to 10 hour at least adventure that's fun, then yeah, that's absolutely worth it. Because if you go to the movies, you're gonna spend $60, going to say 4 or 5 movies, and if they're 2 hours long each, you're looking at 8 to 10 hours. So if you have no problem going to a movies and paying $60 over seeing 4 to 5 movies, then you should have no problem paying $60 for 8 to 10 hours worth of entertainment, because it's the same thing. You're still getting entertainment. One's more interactive, but you have to look at it that way. So yes, you could say, oh, well, Breath of the Wild was 60 and that gave me, 100 plus hours, and this one's 60 and it only gives me 8 hours. You know what? If you look at it that way, you're going to be eternally disappointed. You know why?
Just pay $120 for Breath of the Wild.
or they should just raise the price. I mean, you have to look at it realistically. I think it looks great. I think the graphics look great. I think the gameplay looks great. I watched the Treehouse. I fell in love with it, and I absolutely think it's worth $60. If it's not worth $60 to you, then here's the secret: don't buy it at launch and hope that Nintendo puts it on sale, which they occasionally will do, and then get it that way. No one's forcing you to buy a game at launch. Period. End of discussion. You can wait, and it's okay to wait if you can't afford it. If you can afford it, and this is something you really love and really want, and you want it day one, then go for it and enjoy it. But don't worry about the money. Worry about the gameplay. If the gameplay is not there, then demand a refund.
Or you can buy it at Walmart and save $10.
You could do that too.
Yeah, I'm right with you guys as well. I think it's unfortunate that sometimes we part of the gaming culture feels that a 2D game is subpar. And that's just really unfortunate, because that there's just as much work that goes into some of those 2D games. Not all of them, but a game like Metroid Dread, like this is what, 15, 20 years, 30 years or something like that. I don't know. I'm exaggerating now, but in the making, like
it's like 19 years.
19 years in the not exaggerating that much. So yeah, there's so much time and effort that went into this game to make sure that it's polished. They wouldn't put it out like Nintendo's that kind of company. They don't put out crap. They put out stuff that they're really proud of, and so yeah, I think there's some exceptions to that rule, of course, but in general, they put out stuff that they're really proud of, and yeah, I think if you guys if the gameplay is there, I think as well as if there's enough time in the game, yeah, if you can beat the whole thing and you're done with it in like 4 or 5 hours. Okay, I get that justification. Yeah, maybe it's not worth $60, but yeah, if you put several hours into this game, like it doesn't matter if it's 2D or 3D. that's worth the price that you pay for a full price game like Metroid, even if it is 2D. So,
And even in Breath of the Wild, you can go straight to Ganon right when you beat the plateau. So like that could be an hour game for you off the bat.
yeah.
It's not even going to hit that 8 hour mark. And I know there's people that like to try to compare this to like Tropical Freeze and even new Super Mario Brothers series because those are also 2D games and they're also been full price. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a style of game. It doesn't necessarily dictate the amount of time that you need to spend on it to enjoy it. As long as you're enjoying the game, then that's what makes it worth the purchase worth it. If you
Absolutely.
really are questioning it, you wait for either a demo or, like Barry was saying, like a sale. Like so, like next year around E3 time, it might be like 10%, 15% off, and a year after that, it could be like closer to half off or something. So as he was saying, no one's holding a gun to your head and saying you have to purchase this day one. You can certainly buy it down the line when the sales are there.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of move our sights to what's going to be happening over the next few weeks. Just a heads up, a programming note that normally we go every other week for this podcast, but we're going to be skipping 2 weeks for the next time. So our next podcast would be recording live on July 20th that evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And so, yeah, normally it's every other week. But we're going to skip 2 weeks before the next one, so July 20th. So we'll talk about what games are going to come out over the next 3 weeks then. But before we jump into that, just again, reminder, if you have not subscribed, please do that. If you haven't hit that like button, if you like what you see and like what you hear here on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the bell, hit the share button, all those different things. And if you are listening to this after the fact, if you are able to leave a positive review on your podcast app of choice or your service of choice, please do that. That'd be awesome and really helps us as well. Also, follow us on social media at NintendoFuse on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can also join our Discord. We would love to have you guys join that. Of course, the link is on the screen and also in the YouTube description and the podcast show notes as well. But let's talk about these games that are coming out over the next couple weeks. There's a few big ones. Barry mentioned Ease earlier. Ease, which 9 is that
9.
coming out soon?
He's 9.
And then Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I know a lot of people are really excited about that. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is coming out. Zelda Skyward Sword HD is also coming out. So there's lots of different games that are going to be coming out over the next few weeks. And those are just some of the big ones. What are you guys excited to see over the next couple of weeks? Anything that you're going to be definitely picking up, downloading, or purchasing and playing over the next couple of weeks? Barry, how about you?
This is some great games. Yeah, all the ones you mentioned are definitely grabbing. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I love the original. I don't know if the original is still free on Steam. If it is, I recommend everyone play it and go in blind. You gotta go in blind. I don't know how they're gonna do it on Switch. I'm actually really curious to see how they do it on Switch. But if you don't have a PC or you don't like to play on PC, definitely give it a shot. Doki Doki Literature Club is an experience that pretty much everyone needs to, and it's short. It's like a 2-hour game, maybe 2.5. Like it is not a big experience, but it is a lot of fun. Monster Hunter Stories 2. I need to play the demo, and I plan to play the demo first to see if it's going to suck me in. Skyward Sword, I was thinking about going back and doing, but I still haven't answered my question on whether or not you can use the Pro Controller. And if you can't use the Pro Controller, then it's something I probably won't go back to, because it's only shown using the right analog stick when it's handheld, and every time they show it docked, they show Joy-Con use, and that worries me. My main goal after I finish Danganronpa V3, and that closes out the Danganronpa series, for me is actually going to be giving Scarlet Nexus a try. I love the Tales of series, and I've heard good things about this, and it's Bandai Namco. So that is my main goal. Ease 9 showing up there. I did play that earlier this year, and if you haven't played it yet and you like Zelda, and I'm going to throw out another game here. If you like open world games like Spider-Man, play Ease 9. Ease 9 is phenomenal. Just talking about Falcom, phenomenal game.
Nice. Greg, how about you?
I'm probably not going to be looking at too many from here. I was probably going to be putting Skyward Sword on my birthday list, so I don't think I'll get it until closer to August. But other than that, I don't know if there'll be anything I'll be picking up out of the rest of the um, path. There's plenty of games on my backlog that I've been trying to hammer through, and then I get stuff inserted like Metopia, so it's trying to make time for everything, and there's only so much time to be had.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Anything else that you're going to be playing other than Metopia and the other games you like Fire Emblem and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll probably, hopefully, trying to get back into Hyrule Warriors. I really want to finish Age of Calamity because that's definitely on the hot list to try to get through.
Mm.
Oh, Silver Case is coming out too. That looks great. That's a Suda 51 game,
Ah,
and you get 2 games in one actually.
nice. Nice.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great games. I'm still holding out about Skyward Sword HD. Like I don't think I'm gonna end up getting it. It doesn't seem like it's other than the upgrade, for the visuals and stuff like that. I'm like, I could play
Chris
this on Wii.
Tales. Oh, there's some really great games coming out. This Cotton Reboot, if you like shmups.
There's a lot, but yeah, I think I'm falling more in the category of like Greg. I think there's a lot of games that I need to get back to. As those of you guys that have been listening on the podcast, I've been saying a lot of Rocket League over the last several episodes, and that's fun and everything too. But there's a lot of games that I need to get back into, similar to Greg, Age of Calamity. I really want to finish that game at some point as well. But yeah, I think I feel like that over the next several weeks, there's like something for everyone, which is kind of cool. Definitely gonna be checking out. People mentioned in the chat as well. Sky Children of the Light is now free on the eShop. So if you have not seen that yet, I don't know if that's going to be always free, but for right now it is free at this moment. So go check that out, download it. So I'll be playing that, playing through some of those other demos that I downloaded a few weeks ago. As well. So hopefully I'll have a little more to talk about by next episode. But I am doing some traveling in there. That's actually one of the reasons why we're going to take 3 weeks before the next episode as well. So we'll see what I get to play.
I forgot to mention, I will be playing Sakura Succubus 3 for our next game chat for our next episode, because they did send me a code for that. But I will also say Switch might take priority again, because you're going away. Well, I'm not going away, but my father-in-law is visiting for a couple weeks. So my time with the PS5 gets limited because he likes to hug the TV when he's here. So I will be most likely playing the Switch, and probably either in portable or docked in another TV. So that might be where Monster Hunter Stories 2 or something else takes over.
Nice. Well, we do want to remind you guys that before we kind of close out pretty soon, that we are going to be doing a contest for those Play NYC tickets. So make sure you do check us out on Twitter at NintendoFuse, and you'll see all the details on that pretty soon. So you can get into that contest. It's going to be one of those, I have to retweet and share and like it and stuff like that. So make sure you are following us on Nintendo or at NintendoFuse on Twitter in order to get some free tickets. But again, Barry, remind us how they can actually just save some money on their Play NYC tickets.
Yes, in addition to having the contest to win some free tickets, if you just want to purchase tickets outright, you can use the code FUSE40 and save 40% off your entire ticket purchase.
Nice. So 40%. That's pretty significant savings.
Yeah, that's a big savings.
Yeah, and that's the Dev Pass thing too, right? So that's like gets you more access to like the regular person that would be just purchasing the cheap ticket. This is like more access. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Jared, who wasn't here when we started recording, who's there now, is all excited. Jared and I actually met at a Play NYC. I think it was 2018. We met at, it was 2018 or 2019. I think it was 18 we met. It was great. It was the first time we got to meet each other, and he went because of winning the tickets through us, which is awesome.
Nice, nice. So again, that's August 7th and 8th is when the event happens. Check out Barry's interview with Dan Bushko of Playcrafting and Play NYC. It's on here on our channel here on YouTube, and you can check that out after you get in listening to this podcast. And of course, enter the contest. Purchase your own tickets. That'd be a great way to support them. But hey, it's not about supporting them. It's also about having a great time. And from what I hear about Play NYC, it's definitely something that I'm going to plan on going to eventually because it looks like an awesome time. And we all know, like you guys talked about this in the interview, like we need to get back together again and with a bunch, being surrounded by some gamers again and actually have, physical community. It's going to be a great event, I'm sure. So make sure you check out the interview, but also check out play-nyc.com to learn more information about that. Greg, what are you looking forward to doing over the next couple of weeks other than playing some games? Anything exciting happen in your world?
I don't really think anything. Obviously, just like the 4th of July holiday, so I'm hoping to have some extra time to spend with the family and everything. So, other than that, I don't think there's really a whole lot going on.
Cool. Barry, how about you?
Yeah, well, in addition to my father-in-law being in town, so naturally I will be spending time with him in addition to gaming and all that, and working because work never quits. I just had an episode. I was a guest on the Game Deflators podcast, which went up yesterday. So that is actually available to be listened to. I'm still doing the playcast. So that's every Thursday I'm doing that. And then tomorrow I'm actually filming an interview with Quit the Build podcast, which is probably going to go live a little bit later in July for one of their episodes. So, just making the rounds, trying to let people know about our Series 2 pre-orders, which close on July 15th. Because I got to throw that in there for Demons Tier Plus and Robot Named Fight at premiumeditiongames.com. Pre-order and you get the exclusive slipcover, which is done by Paul Niemeyer, the artist behind Mortal Kombat and so many other classic game franchises.
Nice. Something I just actually, I got a new iPad the other day, and it came with 3 months free of our, Apple Arcade. So I'm gonna be checking out some of those games. So maybe I'll be able to talk about those soon as well. And like I said, I'm traveling, so maybe I'll take my iPad with me. I can play some games on the go. But yeah, other than that, I'm looking forward to actually, like, weather's good here in Colorado. I went rafting a week ago, so I've been doing some more like get out of the house kind of fun stuff. So that's also one of the reasons I haven't been playing as many games recently. But yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying. Maybe just do some hiking and stuff like that over the next couple weeks. So that'd be fun as well. But yeah, Greg, you get something?
Yeah, I just had to remember that my daughter's version of Bowser's Castle arrived today, so I put it together, and we're playing with some of the figures and even some of the amiibos, just like acting out different Mario stories. Peach is captured in a little cage in the Bowser set, and I can't believe I totally forgot about that. That just arrived like an hour before the podcast, and then I had to put it together and put all these little decal stickers all over it. So it was on like a sale on Amazon and Walmart, so it was really great pickup.
That's awesome.
Get the play set, and then
I'm jealous of you, Greg. That's awesome. Like, to be able to share that with your daughter, that's just so awesome.
That is. Yeah. Before you know it,
and
you're gonna get the whole Lego set.
And then she even wanted me to play like the music off my phone because I have like the first 3 Mario games on like my phone, like the entire soundtracks. Like,
one of these days, we're just gonna have her replace you on the podcast. And
there you go.
Just have another edition. I don't need a replacement.
I don't know. I'm just kidding. But it would be great. Like, I can't wait to the day. Maybe we'll still be going at that time when she's old enough to actually get on here and voice her own thoughts about video games. That'd be fun.
That'd be great. A little segment.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I had a quick question. I know we're already kind of going long on here, but have you guys checked out Game Builder Garage yet?
No, I have not.
No, that's
I bought it,
on my list.
Yeah,
I'd like to check it out. I've seen lots of videos of people making games of, like, there's like Star Fox clones and people remaking like 1-1 from Mario Brothers, and I've seen all these videos from like Game Explain and some other outlets that cover that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
just something to be intriguing just to more
Mhm.
like how you play Mario Maker, just play other people's creations and not necessarily make anything myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same. I've just watching YouTube videos of other people, and it's pretty awesome. Like I think it's kind of cool how like what you can actually create in there. I wasn't sure how limited it'd be, but it looks like it's quite the game building garage, I guess, to use the term, the title itself.
Wow. Taking that one
Wow.
all by yourself, Steve.
Well, had a little help from heaven above. Nintendo. There you go. Anyway, playing a Sakurai joke. It's been awesome talking to you guys. Episode 232 is now in the bag, but we'll be back 233. Like we said, it's going to be 3 weeks before the next one. So July 20th is when we'll be recording the next episode. We'd love to have you guys join us in the chat as we record live. But we appreciate you after the fact as well. Thank you to all of the people that are in the chat room. We had Kevin and Jared and Jakester, and I have to scroll back to see some other people as well. What was the
Hassan, Clarice.
Hassan, yeah, Clarice. That's what name I was thinking of. Several people in there that were chatting, and a lot of others that are just kind of watching and listening along. So thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Greg, Barry, as always, it's been awesome to talk video games with you two, and we'll see you next time. Happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you later.